Hey guys, what's up? It's good to see you again. If you remember me, my name's Glenn, and I met you guys about a week ago when we did our first Mind Education lecture. I hope you guys are doing safe, staying healthy, and also staying really productive, even though we're in lockdown and things might be a little bit tough. It's a tough year, 2020, right? It's something that we didn't really expect, and it's kind of changed a lot of things. Even school right now, I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this lecture right now are probably either learning from home, or even if you are in your school building, you're not with all of your friends and class isn't really going the way that it went before. Well, listen, the reason why we're doing this mind education class is because we want to get your minds and your hearts to be stronger than they ever were before. We want it to be so that no matter what kind of difficulty you meet in your life, you're going to be able to overcome it. Do you guys remember who we talked about last week? We talked about the late and the great Kobe Bryant, right? When you look at his life just from the outside, one day he was, a kid playing basketball, and the next day, it's like he was a professional NBA player for the LA Lakers. The thing is, it wasn't just that simple of a process. When we look through a certain lens, and the lens we talked about was thoughts, we're gonna look through everything through thoughts. When we look at his life through the lens of thoughts, we can see that it was actually a very small and a very simple thought that changed Kobe's life. It changed the trajectory, the path of his life, and it made him realize his dream. Even though probably a lot of difficult things happened along the way, I'm not sure it was all easy. He had a lot of hardships and obstacles he had to overcome, but still, that one thought that was planted in his heart like a seed, right? And it didn't just die, but it actually took root. It grew, it blossomed, and then it started to bear fruit. It started to make him become what he wanted to be. In the same way, you guys, if we can learn how to strengthen our minds, how to strengthen our hearts, and how to really deal with all the thoughts that come and go in our lives, then we too can be really happy, we can be successful, and we can get a lot done, even though things might be difficult like they are right now. So guys, strap in and let's get started with lesson number 2. Today's lesson is called The Life of a Thought. Now, for our first 5 minutes, we're gonna talk about a couple questions that I prepared for you. So the first question is, and I want you guys to talk about this either in your chat box if you're doing this class on Zoom, or if you're with other students, you can talk about it in person, whatever you can do. This is my first question. What is a food that you used to really hate when you were little, but now it's something that you love? A food that you really hated, but now you love. You can't get enough of it. You crave it. If you can't think of a food that you used to hate and now you love, then flip it around. What's a food that you used to love, but now you hate? Talk about it for a minute and then let's get back together. Everyone, did you guys have a chance to think it over? Let me show you my example. I used to hate mushrooms. My mom, my dad, they loved mushrooms. Whenever we'd get a pizza, they'd put mushrooms on it. Whenever we would get a burger, they'd get mushrooms on their burger. And if we were ever gonna eat a fancy steak dinner, my dad would always fry up some mushrooms and put it on the side. I'll tell you what, I thought that they tasted weird, they looked weird, they smelled weird, and the texture in your mouth when you chew on them was just so weird. And I heard that mushrooms are actually a type of fungus. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I never heard anything good about fungus before, okay? That just seemed disgusting. But the thing is, I think when I was like in high school or college, when I started to get older, the taste of mushrooms started to grow on me. I started to realize why my mom and dad liked mushrooms so much. And now I can't get enough of mushrooms. I crave mushrooms and I always put them on my pizza. I always get them whenever I can. All right, let's move on to our second question for today. What is an activity? So that can be a hobby or just something you did in your free time when you were bored, whatever. What is an activity that you used to do, but you don't do it anymore? Okay, did everyone get a chance to share? Great. If you haven't and you're watching this alone, again, leave it down in the comments so I can get to know you better. For me, when I was little, like in 5th grade, I used to love to draw cartoons and comic strips. Not gonna lie, if you go to my mom's house in Detroit right now, in our closet, there is a huge box full of papers, like just stacked really high, of comics that I used to draw. So I used to create my own characters, my own worlds, like everything, okay? I didn't pay attention in class that entire year of 5th grade, and I think all the way until 8th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for 4 years, I would use all of my time in school just drawing comics. I loved it. I thought maybe I'm gonna be a professional cartoonist when I get older. But sadly, when I got into high school and then college and even after, I don't really draw anymore. It's not that I hate it, but it just started to get replaced by other interests. Does that make sense to you guys? Maybe you had something like that too, right? Well, for me, that's how it was. So the point of these first 2 questions I asked in our 5 minutes is, number 1, just like with foods, and number 2, just like with activities, nothing really ever lasts forever, does it? Interests and likes and hobbies and preferences, they all come and go and they all change over time. It doesn't really stay the same forever. Some things do though, right? But a lot of things don't. And just like that, when we talk about thoughts also don't really stay around forever either, do they? Some thoughts, they stay around a little longer than others, but some, they just pop up and they kind of disappear right away. But what are the kinds of thoughts that really change our lives and dictate how we're going to feel and how we're going to act and what we're going to do? Those are the kind of thoughts that really get comfortable and find a spot in our hearts, right? I don't know what you guys are thinking right now, but let's again put on our lenses. Let's look at our lives and all of these examples that we're going to talk about through the lenses of thoughts. Are you guys ready? All right. I want you guys to imagine that your heart looks like this. Now, what is this place? This, you guys might not remember because we're not exactly, hopping on planes and, flying around the world right now, but this is an airport, right? I believe this is the airport in Shanghai. Really busy airport, okay? So, in airports, if you've ever been to one before, you'll know that an airport is packed with people. There's always airplanes landing and taking off, and people getting off of cars and getting on. People in line to check in their bags and get their tickets. There's people sleeping on chairs. There's people at the restaurants, people using the bathroom. An airport can have thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming in and out every day. Some people are only there for 5 minutes and they're gone. Some people are there for 5 hours and they're gone. But some people have to hang around a little bit longer and even sleep at an airport overnight. Have you guys ever done that before? It's not comfortable, okay? It's not exactly a hotel. In the same way, our heart is just like an airport. A lot of thoughts come in and come out. Some stay longer than others, and some, they actually hang out for a really long time, right? Let's look at another example that's gonna be kind of relaxing, kind of cute. We're gonna talk about sea turtles. Have you guys ever seen a sea turtle before? A sea turtle, I think, is the perfect example to talk about our heart and the thoughts that we have. Now, sea turtles are super cute, right? If you ever go to the aquarium or maybe even some zoos, you might, catch a glance at a sea turtle. They look like regular turtles, but one key difference is instead of having regular feet, they have fins that they use to swim, but they can even use these to get around on the ground. But they don't really go that far from the ocean, right? All right, so we're gonna watch a video and I'm gonna kind of explain and talk about it after the video. But first, a warning. This video that we're gonna watch is from a nature documentary, and nature can sometimes be a very cruel place, right? So you're gonna see a lot of cute little baby sea turtles, but you'll also see survival of the fittest, if you know what I mean. So just be aware before you watch the video and enjoy, and after the video, we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Sea turtle hatchlings have one of the most treacherous starts to life. They must make their way out of the nest and brave what's between them and the open ocean. My name is Filipe DeAndrade, and I'm a National Geographic wildlife filmmaker. It looks like one of the alpha males and then a juvenile male. My passion for animals has taken me across the world and given me a deep appreciation for this earth. For season 2 of Untamed, we'll be exploring one of the most biologically diverse countries in the world, Costa Rica. Costa Rica offers valuable nesting beaches to 5 of the world's 7 species of sea turtles. This is an olive ridley. And joined by other females, they are looking to further their bloodline. Over the next 2 hours, she will dig a nest and lay her eggs. "45 days later, these 2-inch turtles are soldiering their way through the sand and into the open. They are seeing the world for the first time, using all of their strength to climb up and brave what's between them and the open ocean. But a crowd of hungry onlookers has been eagerly anticipating their arrival. Black vultures wait patiently, watching for any signs of movement. Making it past this avian obstacle won't be easy. The first ones out of the nest are often the fastest, showing off that undeniable survivor's instinct that's kept sea turtles on the planet for around 100 million years. But they have little chance against an insatiable vulture. Weighing in at up to 6 pounds each, vultures can devour almost half a nest. As the last one out of the nest, the odds of survival are completely stacked against this young female. The fate of her brothers and sisters offers a grim view of her own possible future. Magnificent frigate birds. Their arrival doesn't make things any easier, leaving her with one choice: to run for her life. The hatchling relies on fat reserves for energy to move and follows the light emitted from the horizon. Averse to landing in water, these frigate birds snag as many hatchlings as they can from the beach. Even the vultures know when they're outmaneuvered, so they give way to the frigates as they continue their relentless assault. She is exhausted, but must forge ahead. Her life depends on it. Finally, the safety of the water. She made it through the gauntlet. one of a few to reach the sea. And if she can survive until 15 years old, she may be back on this very beach to lay her own eggs.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's look back at the life of the sea turtle, okay? If we could break down its life into steps, what was step one? Mama sea turtle crawled up onto the beach, dug a hole, and laid the eggs, right? Maybe 100 eggs or so. What was step two? Those eggs hatched. Now all these little baby turtles are alive. What was step three? They started to crawl out of that hole. Some of them, it didn't really show in the video, but some of them, even right off the bat, instead of heading towards the water, which is where they should go, they accidentally get turned around, maybe they're dizzy, and they start heading towards the forest instead, where there's no water. So some of them, unfortunately, they're going the wrong way right off the bat, and they die. They don't survive that long. But the rest of them, where do? They start making their way towards the ocean. Now that is where the real race begins. And as we saw, there were all kinds of obstacles and predators and a lot of difficult things waiting for them, right? Some sea turtles, they get picked off by the birds right away. Some of them make it a little bit further, but they get picked off when they're right before the water. It's so sad, they were so close. But out of those 100 little sea turtle hatchlings, not a lot, but maybe one or two actually make it all the way to the water. Now the ones that make it to the water, they're pretty much safe, right? Maybe not exactly. There could be more predators waiting in the water. So let's say out of those two, one of them gets eaten. Well then, out of 100 eggs, only one sea turtle makes it to the water. It eats, it grows, and it becomes a fully grown adult sea turtle. That is the life of a sea turtle. Now you guys, the reason why I chose this example for you is not just because it was a fun and cool video to watch, but because our hearts and the thoughts that enter our hearts can be compared to these sea turtles. Do you guys see how? Just like 100 little sea turtles hatch and make their way across the beach, our hearts also have hundreds and hundreds of thoughts that all come up. But not all of these thoughts stay forever. We have some thoughts that just come and go. They're in for 1 second, they're gone the next. Let me give you an example as I'm explaining this, okay? You know, as I told you guys before, I'm married, okay? I love my wife, she's really cute, she's really fun. But sometimes when we go to sleep, at like 1 or 2 in the morning, I'll get really hungry, right? And then I'll wake up because I'm so hungry. And then I'll think, oh, gosh, I'm really hungry, what should I eat? Oh, I wish I could have a steak right now. But you guys, where am I gonna go and get a steak at 1 or 2 in the morning? And am I gonna cook a steak at 1 or 2 in the morning? Heck no, right? So that thought, it comes and it goes. It's gone like that. But then I think, well, if I can't eat a steak, maybe I could go to Taco Bell and get some drive-thru. So that thought, it seems a little bit more possible, so it stays a little bit longer. Yeah, what would I order at Taco Bell? They have the new toasted cheese chalupa and the grilled cheese burrito. I don't know if you guys have tried it, but it's really delicious, okay? I strongly recommend you give them a try. They're not even that expensive, like $2 each. But that thought might stay a little bit longer, but then what happens? Taco Bell is too far. I don't want to go outside. It's cold. I don't want to get in my car and drive all the way there and then come back. And what if my wife hears the car pulling out of the driveway? She's going to be like, where did you go at 2 in the morning? So that thought, it stays a little bit longer. But then what do I realize? Nah, that's impossible. So then finally, there's one thought that replaces that thought. If I can't eat steak and if I can't get Taco Bell, I think I have a Snickers bar in my backpack. So what do? I quietly get out of bed, go to my backpack, pull out that Snickers bar, and eat it, right? So just like that one little sea turtle that makes it all the way to the water and grows into a full-grown adult, out of all those thoughts that I had, one thought stuck around and it eventually led to an action. Now you guys, this is just like the story we talked about of Kobe Bryant last week, right? a good thought, to enter into that arena wearing a Lakers jersey, playing for his favorite team, scoring the game-winning basket with 1 second left on the clock, hearing the fans shouting his name, really making his father proud and realizing his dream. That little thought, it grew and it grew and it grew, and it led to these actions that made Kobe who he was and how we remember him today. It's a really great example. But you know, just how they say that there's two sides to every coin, there's also two types of thoughts that we can accept into our hearts that can grow and grow and grow and lead us on a certain trajectory. Yeah, good thoughts and great dreams like Kobe, but maybe some thoughts that aren't quite as good. I want to tell you guys a story, all right, about a certain young boy who grew up in a country called Austria. Have you guys ever heard of Austria? It's a country like kind of smack dab in the middle of Europe. In Austria, now this was many years ago, there was this young boy, and he had a dream of wanting to be an artist. It kind of sounds like Kobe, right? Dreaming of playing basketball, this boy dreamed of becoming an artist. And as he grew up and he became a teenager, and eventually when he turned 18 years old, he decided to follow through in his dream. So this thought, it stuck with him for a while. I'm gonna be an artist, and I'm gonna paint these beautiful landscapes. These are some of his pictures, right? So pictures of castles and mountains and, you know, buildings. This is kind of like what Austria looks like. It's a very beautiful country. And as you guys can see, he wasn't a bad painter, and he had a good eye for angles and for color and all of these kinds of things. But the thing is, when he got to Vienna and he went to school to become an artist, all of a sudden, just like how a bird swoops down and snaps up that sea turtle and eats it up and it's gone, a lot of problems started to come into this guy's life, and he started to realize that, no, me being an artist isn't gonna be possible. It's impossible, I can't do it. He realized that he wasn't as talented and as good as he thought he was, because when he was in school, he didn't do that well in art school. He also became super poor because they have a phrase called the starving artist. It's not easy to make a living when you're an art student. And also, he just realized that this dream, it's not gonna be easy to fulfill. So, feeling that this dream was impossible, it got replaced by another thought. That thought was, right around when the First World War was starting, if I can't be an artist, I'll join the army. So this young man joined the German army. And when he joined the army, he fought in the First World War. And he fought very bravely, he fought well, he won some medals. But the thing is, Germany, they lost the war. And when they lost the war, Germany became very poor, and they went through a lot of hardships, and their economy went into a depression, and it was very hard for the German people. But at that time, in this young man's heart, a thought entered in. Do you know why we lost the war? And do you know why things are so hard at home right now? It's because of a certain group of people living in our country. Do you guys know what kind of people he was talking about? He was talking about the Jews. And he started to blame the Jews. He blamed them for betraying Germany, for betraying Austria. Because of them, we lost the war. And because of them, when we surrendered, all of the conditions and the hardships that we had to accept were because of them. So this thought, like a sea turtle reaching the water and growing and growing and growing, started to grow and grow and grow inside of his heart. And this started to lead his heart on that trajectory of that hatred getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it started to lead to certain actions too. He became very outspoken. He would share with other people about how much he blamed the Jews and how much he hated the Jews and how much he wanted to make Germany a stronger nation, a nation that would come back from the depression and that could get revenge and payback on all these other countries from the First World War that were the cause of their suffering. Do you guys know who this man is that I'm talking about? This was none other than Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party, the dictator of Germany for more than 10 years. He caused the Second World War. He invaded other countries throughout Europe, and his armies, they killed so many people, and America got involved, and it was a crazy, crazy time. And among one of the most horrendous things that he and the Nazis were responsible for was something called the Holocaust. Maybe you've learned about this in school already, but because of the Holocaust, the Nazis would take the Jews, they would round them up, take them out of their homes, they would put them in concentration camps, in labor camps, and even in death camps. And they would exterminate them by the thousands. So by the time the Second World War was over 6 million Jews and gypsies and all types of other people who were considered different and who were hated by Hitler and the Nazis were killed. You guys, how did he go from just a young boy in Austria who wanted to paint to one of the most evil men in history? It all started when one thought died, was replaced by another thought, and that thought grew and grew and grew, and it turned into actions. Now do you guys see why thoughts are so important and why they're so powerful? Because they can lead our lives in a super, super good way like Kobe, or they can lead our lives in a super, super bad way like Adolf Hitler. This is why we're using thoughts as our lenses. And that is why if we know about thoughts and how they work, and if we know about how they can lead our lives, then we can do something about it. And we can really change our lives and we can change our trajectory for the better. All right, everyone. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. I can't believe our second lesson is already done. I really hope that you guys enjoyed and got something out of today's lesson. And until I meet you guys for lesson number 3, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, always keep learning, always keep bettering yourself, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.